This is an art attack. This is an art attack. This is Art Attack. Hello there. Hey, can you never find somewhere to lean when you want to draw? You always end up sprawled all over the floor or leaning on your knee. You know what you need? An art desk. Look at that. But this is no ordinary art desk. This is your own drawing board that you can take anywhere. Come and have a look at this. Now, you can make whatever size art desk you want, depending on the size of your normal drawing paper. I'm going to make an A4 size one, and the idea is to get a cardboard box that's got sides that's slightly bigger than your normal drawing paper, and cut one of these big sides off together with one of these top flaps. So then you'll have a piece of card that looks like that, and that's perfect for the lid of your desk. Then cut another side off the same way, and that will be the bottom of your desk, and then place one on top of the other, and the idea is to cut these top flaps in half on both pieces so that you then have something that looks like that for the lid of your desk, and you can throw that half strip away. And on the bottom of your desk, when you cut that top piece off, you must keep it, turn the cardboard upside down, and then stick this strip down onto that half strip there. And the best way to do that is to just spread some glue around 3 sides of this half strip or flap. Only 3 sides, you'll see why in a minute. And then stick this strip down like that, so that there's no glue along that side, because when you press it down and leave it to dry, you then have a piece of card that looks like that, with a slot that you can keep your paper in. Neat, huh? Then to join the lid to the bottom of the desk, it's just simply a case of putting glue all over that half flap this time, at the top, and then turn it round and press it down firmly so that the lid has got a half flap at the top, and the inside has got that slot on the inside. And just press it down firmly, press the glue into place, and you could just leave it to one side to dry. You could even place some books on top of that to make it really firm. And when it's dry, there you have your desk shape with a lid that opens to keep your paper on the inside. Then, to make it look really authentic, just draw on an inkwell at the top, on that half flap. And you could also draw in a pen or pencil slot. Lots of desks have those at the top. And here's a good idea. If you then take a teaspoon and just press some indentations just very firmly into that pen or pencil slot, then you can actually rest your pen in, or your pencil in, while you're drawing, and it won't roll away. Do the same on the inkwell, and it'll look really 3D when you come to paint it. Then, to make it look really old and worn, you can just scratch in some scratches into the cardboard using a ballpoint pen. See that? Just scratching in. You could even carve in your initials there. I'll just put an N into there, and you could even, maybe over here, put in some noughts and crosses. Because you see, those old desks always seem to have carvings in them, didn't they? Noughts and crosses and initials. It's not the sort of thing that we can get away with nowadays. They always used to seem to do those on those old desks. Just makes it look more old and worn. Finally, take a piece of your paper, place it in the middle of your desk, and just roughly draw around it. You'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. Just put that in the middle, and then it's ready to paint. And you can paint it using poster paint or acrylic paint, nice woody browns, and it's just a case of painting it, slopping it onto your desk, and just streaking in different coloured browns, just light browns, see that? And maybe a little black every now and then, just to give you a wood streak effect. But whatever you do, don't paint over that rectangle in the middle. And when you've painted the whole of your desk, inside and out, apart from that rectangle, you'll have something that looks like that. Look at that. I've painted the desk outside, I've painted it inside, I've even picked out some detail like your pen and pencil slot, your inkwell, and I've even put in some black felt tip pen wood grain. Now the clever bit, to make a real hard surface for your art desk, just take one of the backs off an old drawing book because they're really hard to lean on. And then if you draw on it and make it look like an open book. And the best way to do that is to just draw a line down the middle, draw some curves for open pages like that. You've seen open books like this. And then just some lines down the side like this. And then you can paint it to look like an open book. The best way to do that is to paint it using acrylic paint or poster paint. But if you do use poster paint, mix in some PVA glue, then it will dry with a real hard surface. And when you've painted it, you'll have something that looks like that. Look at that, an open book. I've even put splats on and some fake writing on there to make it look like that book. Then stick it down with lots of glue really firmly, and then you'll have an art desk with a lid that opens, a slot to keep your paper on the inside, and a real hard surface to lean on. Try it yourself, your own art desk, a drawing surface that you can take anywhere.
Hello, it's the Head here. Hey, what a great way to use an old cardboard box, making your very own cardboard art desk. Cut 2 big sides with the bottom flaps off a box. Cut the flaps in half and glue round 3 sides of one to stick it on top of a half flap. Glue the other big piece of card on top with the half flap at the top. Make an inkwell and pencil slot and add some pretend scratches or words to make it look old. Paint your desk and stick on the back of a drawing book that's been painted to look like a school book. And there's your art desk to lean on and keep things in. Oh, and do me a favour. Don't do any drawing or scratching onto any real desks, will you? Only try it on your cardboard art desk.
Hey, what's this? Learn to scuba dive here. Right. Hey. Well, what's in here then? Look at that. What? In a shop? And it looks deep. Oh. Come on, that gives me an idea for a big art attack.
Well, all I can say about that is, what a flipping good picture! Flipping good picture!
Just take a quick look at this drawing. Any idea what it is? Yes, a couple of shaky lines in there. And of course, it's a wobbly jelly. OK, try this one. Watch this. Again, a couple of shaky lines. And now, this man is shaking like a leaf. Good effect, isn't it? And you know, it works with absolutely anything. If you put a couple of lightly drawn lines around the outside of something, it makes it look as if they're shaking and wobbling. So, OK, let's try it in this cartoon. Here's Jack climbing up the beanstalk like in the famous fairy tale, and he's high above his house in the clouds, and in fact, he's so high, it's really windy up there, and everything is shaking and wobbling. He's blowing in the wind. The beanstalk is shaking and wobbling, and just put two lightly drawn lines around the outside edge to make it look as if it's all shaking. Well, eventually, Jack gets to the top of the beanstalk above the clouds and discovers the giant's castle. And the giant shouts out, "Fee, fi, fo, fum," and other giant things. And his voice booms out so loud that the whole castle shudders. Now, again, a couple of lightly drawn lines around the outside edge of things to make it look as if they're really shuddering. Yes, of course, Jack doesn't react very well to that. He starts to shake like a leaf, and again, two lightly drawn lines on the outside edge, and he's shaking and wobbling. Well, eventually, the giant starts to chase Jack, and he chases him all the way down the beanstalk. In fact, the giant is so heavy, the beanstalk starts to wobble and shake, and so does the giant. He shakes with anger. So again, two lightly drawn lines around the outside edge. Well, Jack gets to the bottom of the beanstalk first, finds his axe, and starts to chop at the beanstalk, and it starts to shake and wobble, and eventually the whole thing collapses, and the giant goes through Jack's house, and the whole house itself shudders. So two lightly drawn lines around the outside edge there, and the whole house is shuddering. But don't worry, the house isn't shuddering at all. In fact, it's Jack shuddering as he wakes up in bed as the alarm goes off. Yes, it was all a nightmare. And just a couple of lightly drawn lines around the outside edge of the alarm clock to show it's shaking and wobbling. Try it yourself. Make things shake and wobble in your cartoons with shake and wobble lines.
Oh, what an effective drawing tip. Two lightly drawn lines around the edge of something to make it wobble. You see, it even works with words. It's great to make things wobble. It's wobble-tastic. Whoa.
Hi, I'm Joshua and this is Kirsty. To make this picture we painted a sunset background, and then to create some trees we blew black paint through a straw.
Hi, I'm Sophie and this is my fruit picture. I drew all sorts of fruit, including a huge red watermelon. I shaded them with chalks and smudged them to make them look really edible.
Hello, my name is Adam and I've had an art attack with chalks. I drew green wisps with red and white heads to create the effect of poppies in a field.
Hi, my name's Keely. I made this picture by cutting up old holiday magazines. I then tried to copy the missing section of the image myself using paints.
Hi, my name is Ashley and this is my weird face picture. To make it, I photocopied magazine pictures of faces, then cut them out and reassembled them, making them look strange and distorted.
Ah, great art attacks. And you know, that using old magazines has given me a really good idea for a simple yet really effective art attack. Try this. Cut out an outdoor scene picture from a magazine. Now, it could be just an ordinary scene, could be a river scene, even a nice snowy scene, even a beach scene, whatever you like, but just make sure you cut it into a rectangle that's twice as wide as it is high. So, twice as wide as it is high, and then divide it into 3 equal sections. Now, the width of this is 21 centimetres, so for 3 equal sections, I'm going to have 7 centimetres each section. And then just draw a ruler line across to divide sections, one there and one there like that. And then use your ruler to fold the paper accurately along those lines. So one fold in there like that, and then move the ruler over and get one fold there. It's important that you do this quite accurately. It's not often we say that on Art Attack, is it? And then I'm just going to fold those over in onto themselves like that. So 3 equal folds. And then turn it over, and on the back, just draw a smooth curve across the top to create an arch shape. Now, you need a nice smooth curve here, so you can adjust it as many times as you like. It doesn't matter how many times you adjust it, because this is the back, but you want a nice smooth curve. And when you're happy with that arch shape, just hold the paper together, all the folds, and very carefully snip along that curved line with some scissors into the arch there. That's it. Just carefully holding your paper together so that when you've cut it, you open it out and you have 3 arches that are joined. And then to separate them, just snip up those lines. That's one up there, and carefully again up that line like that. So you've now got 3 separate arch shapes. And then take a piece of black paper, place that down, and then place your arch shapes into the middle of the black paper like that, and just separate them slightly, line them up, and look what you've done. You've created a view of a scene looking through arched windows. Good, isn't it? And then all you have to do is glue those bits down, and there's your arched picture. And here's another way of creating an arched picture. This time, take some brown paper. I suppose you could use grey paper for this. And again, cut out 3 arches in exactly the same way. Place the arches this time at the bottom of your paper. And again, just spread them out like that along the bottom of the brown paper, and then cut out a strip of sky from a magazine that fits along the top of your paper, and now you've created an arched picture looking through an arched bridge or viaduct. And again, glue those pieces down. And you know, lots of different pictures look good through arches. Again, just create 3 arches in the same way, back them onto black paper, and there you have another arch picture. And what about 3 different sized arches and a curved strip of sky going along the top to create a bridge? Or even this one. This is a bigger arch, just 1 arch this time, and I've divided it into 4, separated the bits to create a different shaped arch window. Try it yourself. An arch attack. And I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.